Hello, welcome to Oxford Analytica's video briefing. I'm Stephanie Hare and I'm in conversation today with my colleague Dr. Jill Hedges to discuss events in Argentina and a US Supreme Court ruling that has markets worldwide worried. Now, Jill, you are the author of Argentina, A Modern History, so you've literally written the book on this country. Talk us through what has happened in the United States with this debt ruling and what it means.
Well, the Supreme Court ruling means the end of the road for a very long lawsuit between Argentina and a group of holdout creditors who didn't accept the debt swap in 2005 and 2010. It involves a debt of about $1.3 billion. There's no further legal recourse now for Argentina. Its appeals have been rejected. So the bottom line is that they're ordered either to make payment of this $1.3 billion upfront in cash before they make payments on performing debt, or else they're forced into default on the performing debt. Now, the next payment that's due on performing debt is on Monday, so we have quite a short time frame here. They've already said that they can't make that payment because they can't negotiate with holdouts in that period of time. So we're now in a 30-day grace period. After the 30th of July, if the payment hasn't made, they go back into default.
Gosh, so what are the possibilities of reaching a deal, and what happens if they don't?
The possibilities of reaching a deal, I think, are anybody's guess. I think there's a lot of brinkmanship here on both sides, both the government and the holdouts. The holdouts have never shown any willingness to negotiate up until now. This has been going on since 2005. And the government has always said it can't offer them a better deal than it offered the creditors that took the restructuring offers in 2005 and 2010. They're both now saying they're willing to negotiate, and the court has appointed a mediator, but the mediator says that there's been no advance up until now. There are unconfirmed reports that the government has said it can't improve on the 2010 offer, which the holdouts didn't accept. So it looks a bit like we're back to square one. I have some optimism that, with a new default looming, which is not going to benefit anybody, we may still have some space here for a deal. The other issue is that they can't actually improve on the earlier offer, at least until the end of this year, because there's a clause in the restructured debt of right under future offers, which would mean that the holders of restructured debt would have the right to benefit from any improvement that's given to any other creditor. So it potentially opens up a much bigger settlement problem.
Now, what do you think the impact of all of this turmoil is for Argentina's economy and possibly even the wider Latin American economy?
Well, the Argentine economy went into technical recession in the first quarter. It's not doing well. Having said that, it's nothing like it was at the time of the default at the end of 2001, when it had already been in recession for nearly 4 years. I think the short-term impact is not huge. The government has had no access to credit and very little foreign investment for years, so that's not going to change. But they've worked very hard in the last year or so to try to gain access to credit. They have made deals with other creditors like the Paris Club. They have improved their relations with the IMF. They really need foreign investment, especially in the unconventional hydrocarbons sector. And if there's another default, then frankly, I think all of the work that they've done will be undone. And in the slightly longer term, no credit and no investment means that the economy is going to continue to stumble downhill. In broader terms, I don't think creditors see the rest of Latin America in the same way as they see Argentina. Both the IMF and UNCTAD have warned that this ruling may make debt restructurings generally more difficult. I think psychologically that may be true, but legally the ruling only applies to debt issued in New York, so the scope is probably not that great. But where it does have an effect on Latin America is that Argentina as an export market will decline. That's very critical for Brazil, particularly because Argentina is almost the only export market for Brazilian manufacturers now. And if that dries up, then the Brazilian manufacturing sector, which is already in trouble, I think is going to look even more troubled than it does now.
Gosh, so we've got a country potentially on the brink and a region that's quite vulnerable.
Yes.
We'll be covering this in the Oxford Analytica Daily Brief. Jill is leading that coverage, so if you have any questions or concerns, get in touch with us via our website.